Tonight, Team Obama to wobbly Democrats don't believe the hype about electability. It's Clinton who can't win. Obama's pushing back and is pushing some hot-button issues in the run-up to May 6th as the race for the White House rolls on. Welcome to the race. I'm David Gregory, and this is your stop for the fast pace, the bottom line, and every point of view in the room. Every day of this race is game day, and we are here to wrap it up and tell you what it means. Coming up in just a couple of minutes, you'll get your first preview of Keith Olbermann's interview with South Carolina Congressman Jim Clyburn. He talks about this growing rift between the Clintons and African Americans. Don't miss that. On the road to the May 6th primaries in North Carolina and Indiana tonight, we're going to have another special War Room edition. We go inside the minds of the superdelegates and have their debate for them. Democratic leaders are saying again today they want the supers to choose in early June to wrap this race up. The bedrock of the program, as you know, a panel that comes to play. And with us tonight, host of the Rachel Maddow Show on Air America, MSNBC political analyst Rachel Maddow. Playing for the first time today, MSNBC political analyst Lawrence O'Donnell. Host of NPR's News and Notes, Faraya Chidea, and columnist for the Washington Times, Tony Blankley. We begin as we do every night with everyone's take on the most important political story of the day. It's the headline. My headline tonight, as I just mentioned, the Clintons caught in a race storm. In South Carolina, the former president, you recall, appeared to dismiss Obama's success, comparing him at that time to Jesse Jackson. Well, this week he claimed the Obama team was playing the race card against him. Well, now South Carolina Congressman Jim Clyburn is striking back and warning of an irreparable breach between African Americans and the Clintons. He speaks to Keith Olbermann tonight at 8 p.m. Eastern Time. Here is a preview.
I said, Bill Clinton needs to chill out. That was in January. At that point, everybody thought that this thing would be over on Super Tuesday in February. And everybody thought at that point that the nominee or the leading candidate for nomination would be Hillary Clinton. That's certainly what I thought. But even then, I thought the president was saying things that would anger black voters, and he should chill out.
Clyburn noted during that interview with Keith Olbermann that he does not believe that Hillary Clinton is actually responsible for trying to take down Barack Obama on this issue. Again, more 8 p.m. Eastern Time with Keith Olbermann and Jim Clyburn. Don't miss it. Upshot of all this, Obama has been burdened with the electability issue after this week's result in Pennsylvania. But isn't this a bigger deal for Hillary Clinton? If she gets the nomination and it is not based on pledged delegates, can she rely on African American support after all? And if she cannot, how does she win in November? That's my headline. Faraya, welcome to the program. Your headline tonight.
Well, John McCain wooing black voters. We have seen John McCain do some unprecedented moves this week, going down to New Orleans, walking through the Ninth Ward, really dealing with Hurricane Katrina, and in fact, lambasting the Bush administration. So that was one move. He also went to Selma, talked about John Lewis and his sacrifices. And then, you know, on MLK Day, he had gone to Memphis. So the question in my mind is he wooing black voters at a time when Senator Clinton is losing them, or is he trying to play to moderates and swing voters?
Well, that's the question. Is he actually playing to more independent voters, white voters even, or moderates who want to see him taking this stand, and it underlines his own authenticity perhaps as a candidate?
I think that's the case. I mean, I think, however, you know, there are African Americans who want options, although black folks overwhelmingly tend to vote for Democrats. There probably will be some black Republicans who will feel like, okay, I might not have to cross the party line.
All right, Farah, thanks very much. Lawrence, you're up. Welcome to the program. Your headline tonight.
David, my headline is health care reform is dead. Now, we've seen that headline before in 1994. This is the last time it was attempted by the Clintons. But influential Senate Finance Committee members Chuck Schumer, Jay Rockefeller, who's the chairman of the Health Subcommittee on the Finance Committee, are saying already that they will not be able to do health care reform next year if the Democrat wins the White House. Jay Rockefeller has said there is no money to do that. And so if you've been basing your vote out there on the difference, the one-sentence difference between Hillary Clinton and Barack Obama on health care, you're wasting your vote. Look for something else. Health care reform is going nowhere.
Does it, just because they can't do it in the first year doesn't mean it won't be a big issue past that?
The only time you can do something big is in that first year, David, in that first 18 months. If it doesn't get done then, as the Clinton presidency showed, it will not get done.
And there'd be a price to pay, wouldn't there, for Democrats if they can't deliver on that now? Is that your view?
I don't think there is. I think the public has been through this now for 40 years of Democrats running for president saying, I'm going to do this. They get elected. They never do.
All right. Rachel, what have you got tonight?
In one 24-hour news cycle, John McCain called Barack Obama a Sunni extremist, a Nicaraguan leftist, and an Asian dictator. Talk about throwing the kitchen sink. Despite John McCain's clean campaign pledge, in one 24-hour period, today, for example, he called Barack Obama the presidential candidate of Hamas. He called Barack Obama the presidential candidate of Daniel Ortega, the Sandinista guy. And yesterday, in response to White House allegations that North Korea had proliferated its nuclear technology to Syria, John McCain said that created an expectation that Barack Obama would have to explain himself on wanting to talk to Kim Jong-il. There's three pretty explosive allegations and correlations there made by John McCain, and I found them pretty surprising.
What's the smart reaction if you're Barack Obama, Rachel?
I think that you make fun of it. I honestly think the best way to do that is to lie them out and say, you know what, if you think that I'm Hamas and a Sandinista and a North Korean dictator, let's argue on those grounds, but I'm going to keep talking about policy and about changing the country for the better of the American people.
All right, Tony Blankley, what have you got tonight?
My headline is that D.C.-based superdelegates are quietly sticking with Obama. These are the undeclared ones. Now, that's what I'm hearing from some friends up on the Hill. On the other hand, I'm hearing that some of the state-based superdelegates are worried about what Obama's effect might be down ticket, and so they're a little queasier, while the D.C.-based ones just can't imagine turning on the African-American candidate and what it means historically for the party. So there's a beginning of a different set of perceptions between basically the Democratic congressmen who are superdelegates and state Democratic Party officials.
All right, a lot to get to is a lot to get to as we continue here in the hour. Up next, we're going to go inside the war room. New polls out of Indiana. Is Hillary Clinton getting a post-Pennsylvania bump? We'll examine later on the superdelegate factor. What are they waiting for? Race for the White House. We'll be right back.
Let's see. Gossip magazines, dark chocolate, Italian shoes, definitely a Kansas City ribeye, and pulling up to the boys' club in one of these. These are just a few of my favorite things.
Well, I was shopping for a new car. Which one's me? A cool convertible or an SUV? Too bad I didn't know my credit was whack, cause now I'm driving off the lot in a used subcompact. F-R-E-E, that spells free. Creditreport.com, baby. Saw their ads on my TV. Thought about going but was too lazy. Now instead of looking fly and rolling fat, my legs are sticking to the vinyl and my posse's getting laughed at. F-R-E-E, that spells free. Creditreport.com, baby. Offer applies with enrollment and triple advantage.
Up next, inside the war room, matchup suggests John McCain may have a fight ahead of him in Indiana in November, and not just against Barack Obama. We're going to go inside the war room right after this.
They faced off in the WWE.
You can call me Hill Rod.
You smell what Barack is cooking.
Now, hardball has no mercy. As Obama and Clinton lock their next presidential cage match, what's their finishing move?
That's a hell of a fight.
Hardball with Chris Matthews, tonight at 7 on MSNBC.
No child should ever have to go to school in fear. If your child is a victim of bullying or a violent crime in a Philadelphia public school, call the Safe Schools Advocate at 215-644-1277. We can help. The Pennsylvania Department of Education and its Safe Schools Advocate provide families with confidential support, free information, and will work with your family and the school district of Philadelphia to help resolve the problem. Please call to stop the violence.
Hey, Ted, it's your brother. Listen, I know we've had a lot of awkward phone conversations over the years, but I just got the new Comcast digital voice home phone service. So this call should go a lot less awkward. because it's digital.
Your phone calls won't change. They'll just cost less. Affordable and reliable Comcast Digital Voice.
Sign up today for Comcast Digital Voice, and you'll get this amazing offer. 1-800-COMCAST.
At Ditech, we believe in clear, straightforward lending with no surprises. What you see is what you get. And right now, homeowners can get lower monthly payments by refinancing to a new, low fixed rate of 5.5%. So call Ditech first, and we'll have an approval decision for you in minutes, with no hidden fees or hidden anything. Call 1-866-75-FIX today.
Try a bowl of Trail Mix Crunch cereal and start your day with the great taste of Trail Mix. It's sure to wake up the trailblazer in you. The trail starts here.
We're back and going into the war room to look at the campaign strategies of all these candidates, what's working and what is not. Who's got the upper hand today? Back with us, Rachel, Lawrence, Farai, and Tony. First up, Clinton closing the gap in Obama, Indiana territory, according to the latest polls. Obama and Clinton in a virtual tie, 48-47 in the South Bend Tribune poll. Obama leads 41-38 in the latest Indianapolis Star poll. And this is worth noting, Barack Obama in a head-to-head matchup against John McCain, he's leading by 8 points, 49-41. Rachel, what do you make of it all?
I think that Indiana is going to turn out to be way more surprising than anybody knows. We haven't seen a ton of polling heading into it. Nobody thought that Indiana would be important at this point in the race. They thought they were going to be so late in the game that they'd be out of the running. I think that Indiana is still very much starting to take shape, and they're going to be bowled over by the amount of attention paid to them by these two campaigns in the next 2 weeks.
Lawrence, you've watched what the Clinton campaign has been saying. They're like, look, this is Obama territory over here. He's big in the media market here in the northeastern part of the state. He's well known. They're trying to downplay their own expectations, but she's got a similar demographics to Pennsylvania in Indiana that she could capitalize on.
Yeah, similar demographics to Ohio and Pennsylvania, and Hillary Clinton had a big lead in Indiana in the outlying polls a month ago and earlier. So this is actually not a good sign for Hillary Clinton because the momentum in these polls has gone toward Obama, and he's the one with the money. You're going to have to buy Chicago TV time to advertise in northern Indiana. Very, very expensive. Very tough on the Clinton campaign, trying to mount a TV campaign there and have some money left over at the end of Indiana.
Right. Tony Blankley, what about the fact that Obama is outpacing McCain there? We're having an electability argument this week. This is a strong sign for him.
If that poll is not an outrider, if it means something, it's amazing, because Indiana has always been the first state just about in the union on election night. They say, well, again, Indiana went for the Republican. So if this poll means anything, it's pretty shocking. I think that the two primary polls are fascinating because one of them, the South Bend poll, only has 5% undecided, where the Indianapolis has, I think, 21%. I'm surprised at that low level of undecided. They must have really been pushing for an answer, because none of the polls we've seen in any of the states, Ohio, Texas, Pennsylvania, have had such a small undecided so early. So I'm a little curious about the poll methodologies.
Right. Next up, a sign that the Clinton camp is tweaking its strategy a little bit. Take a listen to Hillary Clinton on the trail in North Carolina.
I'm starting out behind. I'm the underdog, but that doesn't bother me because I think America is worth fighting for, and I think most people in North Carolina believe that.
Farai, what do you make of this? Hillary Clinton wants to be the underdog now. She's the gritty street fighter. She's the brawler. How does she use this to her advantage in North Carolina, where Obama is so heavily favored?
Well, you can't take a shot of whiskey every day, so she's decided that she's going to go populist, which is something I want to talk more about. But, you know, in this state, 40% of the Democratic voters, nearly 40%, are black. So this is a real Hail Mary pass for her. So it's a good time to try out new messages because, frankly, it's a long shot.
Lawrence, is there something else there? She's got to have a strategy where she narrows the gap. It's effectively the Obama strategy in Pennsylvania that didn't necessarily pan out. He still lost by 10. She wants to close that gap so he can't just repeat what she did to him in Pennsylvania.
lot of delegates up for grabs on May 6th in both Indiana and North Carolina. Hillary has to try to get them in both places. Now, this underdog thing is what worked for her in New Hampshire. Now, coming a day after she said she's the front runner and that she's ahead in the popular vote, it starts to sound a little schizophrenic, but I think she's probably going to stay stronger on this underdog concept, especially in North Carolina, where it's absolutely true.
Well, she
All
didn't
right, moving
really
on.
say
Go ahead, Tony, real quick.
I was saying she didn't really say she was a front runner. She simply said the most popular votes. This is her Rocky strategy, which she used pretty effectively in Pennsylvania.
All right, let me talk about the Republicans here. It sure seems like the Straight Talk Express is taking the high road. Take a listen to John McCain on the morning show sharply condemning an ad put out by a North Carolina GOP group targeting Obama.
This kind of campaigning is unacceptable, and I've done everything that I can to repudiate. I'll do everything in my power to make sure not only they stop it, but that kind of leadership is rejected.
Question is McCain really calling for a clean campaign or letting his surrogates do the dirty work? And Rachel, you pointed out at the top of the program, wait a minute, he's taking the gloves off when it comes to Obama, playing something pretty similar out of the Bush playbook in terms of how they argued national security.
Yes, and John McCain realizes that part of the reason that the press likes him and part of his image is that he seems like a political high road kind of guy. But as I mentioned, he is also calling Barack Obama the candidate of Hamas. And there's also a problem with John McCain saying he's doing everything in his power to stop this from happening. As of yesterday, the head of the North Carolina Republican Party said she had not received a call from John McCain about this ad. So he may be saying in national media that he's trying to stop this thing, but he doesn't seem like he's trying to stop it very, very hard.
Look, I don't much care for what McCain's doing running against his own party. I don't think it's going to pay off for him with party loyalty. But on the issue of race, I think he's completely sincere. The other areas where he's got tough with Obama are not race-related. I think he's very sensitive to the race issue, and he's sincere on this point.
All right,
and this is the kind of thing
David,
that this is the way he scored. This is exactly how he scores real points with independents, moderate Democrats, and even liberal Democrats who like hearing McCain come out against this kind of thing.
Unless it is seen as something fake, unless it's seen as him making a big show of caring about this, but not actually working to shut this stuff down.
All right, let me move on. Finally,
on him.
The Obama campaign announced today that a nationwide voter registration drive is set to kick off after the May 6th primaries. Is this a sign that Obama isn't worried about the upcoming primary fights? Where do you see him going with this particular strategy?
Well, this strategy, this is an amazing time for first-time voters and new voters. And so many of them have been brought to the table by the Obama candidacy. I think the past 8 years have shown that many voters have been demoralized. I mean, you have a situation now where more than 3/4 of Americans think the country is going in the wrong direction. So you have people just entering that time of majority, whether they're in high school or college. They're looking for new direction. Obama has gotten very, very high response rates of registration. So this is just natural for him.
Okay,
David,
coming up next. Go ahead, Lawrence, real quick.
Obama has to tactically move to the general election now, even though he doesn't have the nomination locked up. He cannot tactically wait patiently until he gets that nomination to do national moves.
All right, I got to get another break in here. Coming up next, Team Clinton hits back after the New York Times accuses her of taking the low road in the campaign. Smart Takes coming up. Don't go away.
To master the great outdoors, the pros choose Husqvarna for exceptional power and performance, precision, and amazing control. Master your great outdoors with the same power and performance demanded by the pros. Husqvarna, professionally proven outdoor power equipment. Visit masteryourgreatoutdoors.com to learn more.
Some women deal with their wrinkles with a shot. Some would rather not. New Olay Regenerist Filling plus Sealing Wrinkle Treatment. Not for surgical results, of course, but it fills inside wrinkles and seals them at the surface. Olay Regenerist.
Here at this modern-day watering hole, this urban Serengeti, it's man meets reptile.
So, Lucy, what are you doing?
Just a little online shopping.
You should check out Geico.com, get a free rate quote. If you like what you see, you can buy it online, over the phone, or at your local Geico office.
Cool.
Remarkable. Oh, no. Did you hear something?
Geico. 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on car insurance.
Bayer is helping to make life with diabetes simpler.
That's why my meter is a Contour from Bayer. It's the one meter that has everything I need and there's no coding. Now I can get back to doing more of what I want to do.
Life with diabetes, it's about going for it. My Contour from Bayer has no coding, so I can get an accurate reading and get back in the game. Let's go!
The Contour meter from Bayer. How can you make your life with diabetes less complicated? Simply Bayer.
Good night, buddy.
Good morning, Dad.
Oreo. Milk's favorite cookie.
Vitamin D is a key to calcium absorption, which helps keep bones strong. Caltrate has advanced levels of vitamin D. Keep your bones strong to keep your body strong. Caltrate, the key to strong bones.
Your evil army is complete.
Now, nothing can stop me from building my own Capital One credit card.
Activating card lab, sire.
For my rewards, I'll have double points on gas and groceries. And low interest rate. I shall pay my bill online. And I want a picture of kittens on it.
War kittens?
No, just like regular, cute kittens. Baby cats.
Now you can create your own credit card with your own benefits with Capital One Card Lab. Just go to CapitalOne.com/Card Lab. With Card Lab, you get to pick the rate you want and the rewards that fit your lifestyle. Select airline miles or cash back. How about double points on all purchases for the first 12 months? Your card is built for you, by you. So customized, you can even put your favorite photo on it.
With Card Lab from Capital One, I have absolute control.
So why wait? Just visit CapitalOne.com/Card Lab to build the card that puts the power in your hands.
What's in your wallet?
As the candidates race toward their next battlegrounds, Keith's real question is,
how long can these two campaigns go on like this?
Countdown with Keith Olbermann, tonight at 8 on MSNBC.
Time now for the smart takes from the blogs, the columns, to interviews. We've combed them all to bring you the smartest, most provocative takes on the presidential race. Still with us, Rachel, Lawrence, Farai, and Tony. Our first smart take tonight, Newsweek's Howard Fineman tells Senator Obama to accept the theatrics of political campaigns. To the quote board, I know that you find some of the ritualistic aspects of politics silly, if not phony. Your whole candidacy is about authenticity, and you want to remain true to what you are or what you have become, but you have to surrender to with a smile to the cheesy theatrics of American politics. I know you are cool, Lord knows you are cool, but you have to look like you are enjoying making yourself a fool of yourself from time to time. Lawrence, what do you say?
I completely disagree. I think this is a conventional view of what candidates have to do. We have examples of people who did exactly the opposite. I worked for Senator Moynihan, who was a Harvard professor who impressed New York with his intelligence and his integrity. He got 2/3 of the vote. FDR wasn't out there, stuffing hot dogs down his mouth all day long. You can impress voters with things other than your fluency in menus.
David, I have to say, our friend Howard sounds really condescending of the American people. The fact is that politicians, and I can say having worked for many years for politicians, the petty perquisites that they appeal to the most are journalists and all the prerogatives that journalists stand on to be catered to. So I think this is just sort of an amusing statement by Howard.
All right, our second smart take tonight. Jeff Guerin, a top strategist for the Clinton campaign, fires back after the New York Times accused Clinton of taking the low road in Pennsylvania. To the quote board, on the one hand, it's perfectly decent for Obama to argue that only he has the virtue to bring change to Washington and that Clinton lacks the character and the commitment to do so. On the other hand, we are somehow hitting below the belt when we say that Clinton is the candidate best able to withstand the pressures of the presidency and do what's right for the American people while leaving the decision about Obama's preparedness to the voters. Who made up these rules and who would ever think they are fair? Rachel, take it on.
I think the issue here that he's getting at in kind of a woolly way is whether or not Democrats have values not only about what's the right way to lead the country, but whether or not Democrats also have values about what's the right way to choose the presidency. I think a lot of voters have decided, a lot of Democratic voters have decided that part of what makes them happy to be a Democrat is that they don't have a Karl Rove or a Lee Atwater on the Democratic side of the aisle. And I think that the tactics has become a values issue for Democratic voters, and I think Garen's sort of missing the point there.
Well, but Farai, this assumes that these are slash and burn tactics, which a lot of people don't think they are, by questioning his preparedness for the office.
Well, it's not slash and burn, but I cannot tell you how delicate voters are. There have been studies that show that people are really personally, emotionally invested. It's almost as if you're calling someone's mama ugly. And people have a very thin skin. So, some voters have a very thin skin, so any attack is a cause for alarm, and I couldn't vote for the other side, possibly. And that's where the Democratic Party is in real trouble if that
David,
persists.
I have never seen an election season where more people have more sensitivities about standard campaigning, and it's not just on the Democratic side. I mean, whether it's McCain constantly apologizing for this or that, or other groups saying, oh, please retract the statement. I've been in politics for 45 years. This is very standard fare, and the American people like good muscular
But I
politics.
think part of the issue is that Democrats don't like the standard fare, and that Democrats one of the things the Democrats like about their candidates, and it's one of the things that Republicans like about John McCain too, is that they at least say they're going to be different. And then when you see them act differently than they say they're going to act, it disappoints voters. I don't think it's that unusual.
Let me get in here. Let me get in here for just a second. Our final smart take tonight. Obama campaign manager doing some defending of his own. David Plouffe telling the National Journal that Hillary Clinton is the one whose electability is in question. To the quote board, she's got a high unfavorable rating. He says it would be the highest unfavorable rating for any presidential nominee in recent history. Fairly or not, the majority of voters don't trust Senator Clinton. Those 2 points are related. Obviously, her unfavorable rating and the sense that voters do not find her honest or trustworthy, and I do think she has limited appeal with independent voters. Lawrence, you see the Obama campaign trying to change this narrative that's come out after Pennsylvania.
This is the one number that the Obama campaign is going to rely on more than any other in talking to superdelegates. I've long thought it's the most important number in this entire campaign for 2 years. Hillary Clinton entered this race with the highest negative of anyone who's ever entered a presidential race. She was at 48 going into Pennsylvania, which is astronomically high. Went up over that into 54. Right. I don't know how she manages to get that down, but she's going to have to in order to go forward.
I got to get a break in here. We come right back. Another war room about the superdelegate debate after this.
The day's top stories through the eyes of a lawyer.
Whoa, what a revelation!
Verdict with Dan Abrams. Tonight at 9 on MSNBC.
Nearly 400,000 in Texas.
More than 250,000 in California.
From the Aloha State of Hawaii
to the Free State of Maryland.
Hi, I'm Montel Williams. The PPA buses, sponsored by America's pharmaceutical research companies, have been to all 50 states, helping nearly 5 million people who are uninsured and struggling.
Call 1-888-4PPA now.
Tell a trained specialist the names of your medicines.
You could get them for free or nearly free.
Because America's pharmaceutical research companies want to help.
This is Jim Davis, owner of Music Direct. Jim, if you're watching, this is American Express Open. We got your application for the Plum Card. You know, the business card with everything, everywhere trade terms. We checked it out, and it's incredible how you turned your passion for sound into the source of gear for audiophiles everywhere. So we're excited to say that Music Direct is getting a Plum Card from American Express Open. And we can't wait to see what you do with it. We know you have to buy a lot of inventory to keep your warehouse stocked, so having the option to defer payment for up to 2 months interest-free or getting the up to 2% early pay discount on everything you buy could put money into your business, like building your new record label. For anyone else out there who thinks their business could also use these flexible terms, apply at plumcard.com or call 888-471-OPEN. The Plum Card, the first everything everywhere trade terms card from American Express Open.
An all-new season of Gene Simmons' Family Jewels.
So, Gene, are you willing to take a lie detector test to prove you've been with 4,800 women?
I dare you.
Okay, I'll take the lie detector test. I'll take it. An all-new season of Gene Simmons' Family Jewels, Tuesdays at 10 on A&E.
Brought to you by New Car Connection Automotive and New Car Motors.
Your small business team. The finesse player. The enforcer. The miracle worker. Don't these hope weavers deserve the best tools in the business? Comcast Business Class offers digital voice, high-speed internet, and TV. The same tools as the big guys for your guys. Power to the business people. Comcast Business Class. Turn your office on.
Call now to get Comcast Business Class voice, internet, and TV for $99 a month.
The Democrats faced off in the WWE. Now, what's their finishing move?
It's a hell of a fight.
Hardball with Chris Matthews, tonight at 7 on MSNBC.
When we come back, we're taking the race into the cloakroom. What kinds of conversations are the superdelegates having as they try to choose between Clinton and Obama? We talk about tough conversations. Who is going to tell the loser to step aside and endorse his or her rival? That's next. First, check out your headline.
I'm Christina Brown. Here's what's happening. Authorities say a shark attacked a 66-year-old man in the ocean 20 miles north of San Diego. It's believed that shark was a great white between 12 and 17 feet long. Officials say the man was training with a group of triathletes this morning about 150 yards offshore. Helicopters have now been searching for the shark. Beaches were closed indefinitely. Officials say it's the first deadly shark attack in California in almost 4 years. Meanwhile, authorities in Texas say the last of the 462 children removed from a polygamous compound earlier this month have been moved to foster care facilities around the state. Most of the children have been seen at a coliseum that served as a shelter. Meantime, investigations continue into the allegations of physical and sexual abuse. And President Bush says tax rebates to boost the economy will start going out on Monday. That's 4 days earlier than previously announced. Now back to David Gregory.
We're back on the race. I'm David Gregory, Friday edition here, and we've taken you inside the war room. Now we're going inside the back room, into the minds of the superdelegates. Still with us, Air America's Rachel Maddow, also an MSNBC analyst, political analyst, MSNBC political analyst Lawrence O'Donnell with us as well, NPR's Faraj Jadea, and syndicated columnist Tony Blankley. First up inside the back room, what factors are the superdelegates weighing? Elizabeth Drew answers that today in Politico with a list of what Obama-leaning congressmen are considering. They are: 1, Hillary Clinton is too polarizing and could jeopardize Democrats' down ticket if people go to the polls to vote against her. 2, switching votes would alienate the black base, arguably the future of the Democratic Party. And 3rd, African Americans as voters will make a decisive difference in numerous congressional districts as well. Lawrence O'Donnell, take all of that into account, but listen to this as well. This is posted by the Financial Times. The Democratic Party's superdelegates, according to Howard Dean, have every right to overturn the popular vote and choose the candidate they believe would be best equipped to defeat John McCain in a general election. That's according to Howard Dean, speaking to the Financial Times. That's going to cause a bit of a stir.
Well, he's absolutely right. They do have this power. That is the design. And but they're all politicians, and all politicians exercise their power weighing the political factors. You know, I completely agree with Elizabeth about what they're talking about. I've heard them say exactly those same things, especially the drag on the ticket. I mean, that's the decision that most superdelegates have been making already, is who do they want at the top of this ticket, a very dispassionate decision, and choosing between these two senators.
I think regarding the congressional races, though, I don't agree with Elizabeth, because most of the black votes have been concentrated to make more black districts. So you don't have a big black vote in non-black districts. So I don't think that will affect. I think the first point is valid, and certainly the second one, which was the topic of my headline earlier in the show. But the third point I disagree with.
Rachel, real quick, this issue of pushing back and getting into a conversation about Clinton's electability issues, her own baggage that she says has been vetted before but is still there. She's still a polarizing figure. How does Team Obama get that into the minds of these superdelegates?
Yeah, they've got to take that sentence out of everybody's mouths. That sentence that was there since Tuesday, which is, how come he can't close the deal? And they've started already overtly saying, well, how come Clinton can't close the deal? And there's so many different ways that you can argue for electability. At this point, the most direct measure of it is which one of them is best at hitting John McCain. The two of them have been very reluctantly going after John McCain, preferring instead to go after each other, which, if people really are going to decide on the basis of electability, gives them only an impressionistic sense of how electable they really might be.
Next up, inside the mind of
as you
superdelegate and hold on, let me just keep moving here. Inside the mind of superdelegate and party leader Rahm Emanuel, who told Charlie Rose what he's considering when it comes to an endorsement. Listen to this.
How the loser loses will determine whether the winner can go on to win in November.
What do you make of that, Tony?
Well, I mean, in a certain sense, it's true, of course. You have Reagan in 76 who endorsed Ford but then didn't campaign for him. You had Kennedy in 80 who didn't, I think, campaign hard for Carter. But I think either of these candidates, after they lose, whichever one does, is going to campaign pretty hard. So while I agree with Rahm in principle, I don't think it's going to be an issue this time around.
But Farai, there really is a question of consolidation here, and depending upon how this nomination is settled, does the other hold on to their voters in some way?
Well, you know, that is a huge concern. There are large numbers, double-digit numbers of Obama voters who say they won't vote for Clinton, Clinton voters who say they won't vote for Obama. And one thing I haven't heard a lot of talk about is that if Obama takes the nomination, the person who months ago we would have thought would have been an ace in the hole for Obama in campaigning was Bill Clinton, President Clinton, because of his relationship with the African-American community. But all that capital has pretty much burned up. And so, you know, the last Democratic president is not, if it is an Obama, you know, at the top of the ticket, Bill Clinton is not going to be, I think, a successful campaigner.
Lawrence, take me inside the minds of some of these superdelegates. You know, if you talk to people in the Obama campaign, they say, look, the race is over. That's the argument that we're making to these superdelegates. But there is a reluctance to pull the trigger, especially in a lot of these districts, especially if they're up for re-election. What's going on?
Well, there's two reasons. Number one, the most powerful person that you can be right now in the Democratic Party is an undecided superdelegate. The second you decide, you lose your power. And so every one of them that's holding back becomes more powerful with every day. The other part of it is they are watching this new guy Obama, and they are watching to see if there's a trip up. That's the remaining question: is he gonna step in something? Is he gonna make a mistake? Is he gonna throw an interception? And that's what they're looking for, and they're taking their time and watching him and seeing what he's capable of.
David, you know, I think that's an important point, and Rachel, this is why I think there is a danger in Obama trying to coast to victory here and not really engage her, because there still are questions about him and his ability to put her away.
There still may be questions, but there's also this very real opportunity cost of this race going on and on and on and on. I mean, kinds of things that Tony was talking about in terms of divided races hurting the candidate from the divided party in November. That is very well-established history in this country. I think that the Obama campaign should take the lead from some of the anger that you're starting to see rise up in the left blog world right now, which is not necessarily that the undecided superdelegates have to pick one candidate or the other. It's not a partisan uproar. It's just anger that they have not yet decided. I think there's a sense among Democratic activists, especially at the grassroots level, that undeclared superdelegates are being selfish at this point. They're trying to protect their own butts by not getting caught out with the wrong endorsement, and they just need to make their decision.
All right, let me move on here. I want to have a little Friday fun here. The end game conversation. How do you break it to the losing candidate? Here is a glimpse of what that conversation could look like from NBC's West Wing. Lawrence, this one's for you. Watch.
We have to quit, Congressman. We have to unite behind the candidate. 4 times as many people will be watching tonight as watched Finnick at the Republican convention. We need these last days to put our message before the American people.
You think either of them can beat Finnick in the fall?
Who knows? But you step aside for the good of the party, people won't forget. The president and I won't let them.
Lawrence, you had something to do with that script, so tell me how the script gets written in this race, this conversation.
Well, you know, we had the great fictional quality of having party elders in the West Wing, real party elders like the great John Spencer in that scene, who could really make a sale. And those people don't really exist now in the current Democratic Party. There isn't someone with that kind of convincing power who can take you aside. And Hillary Clinton, everyone knows, is not going to be convinced by anyone else. She's going to have to make her own decision if it's time for her to move out. If it was putting pressure on Obama, if that was the question we were facing every day, there are people who could do that. And I think Obama would actually be more susceptible to that pressure. But Hillary isn't. And so this is going to come down to her being convinced mathematically that it's impossible. That's the only way Hillary Clinton is going to step aside here.
Tony, do you think it is former President Clinton Clinton who says it's not ours this time, we got to put this off?
Yeah, look, there's nothing the party can offer Hillary. It's now or never for her. So, of course, she's going to stick in until she's convinced she's got no chance at all. I don't blame her.
I don't think
David, can I just jump in for a second? I think.
Hold on, Rachel first.
I really think
I'll be real quick, I promise. I was just going to say, I don't think that either candidate is going to be the one that makes the decision to quit. I think the pressure goes to the undecided supers. They make the decision, and then there's no conceding by anybody. They're just forced out.
Go ahead.
Remember something. Go ahead. Sorry.
It's not now or never. When you look at the age of John McCain, Senator Clinton could run again. Whether or not that's likely is another question, but now or never, last chance, it's not last chance.
You know, there's nothing unusual about a candidate who is as close as Clinton going all the way to the convention. Ronald Reagan did it. Ted Kennedy did it. He was much farther behind Jimmy Carter than Hillary Clinton is. And it would not surprise me at all for Hillary Clinton to take this decision on the floor of the convention when the actual roll call of the states is called.
All right, coming up next, 3 big questions, including this. Clinton and Obama are making their electability argument to voters and superdelegates. Will Obama's strength with the independents be his trump card? And then, time to look into the future as our panelists predict what's next in the race for the White House. Don't go away.
I know these front loaders save water, but there has got to be an easier way.
Here. It just came to me in the shower.
Fisher & Paykel. All the good things from front loaders and top loaders combined. AquaSmart from Fisher & Paykel.
In today's cloudy mortgage market, you need a lender that offers clear, straightforward solutions. Rates are near historic lows, so now's the time to call Ditech to refinance at a new, low fixed rate of 5.5%. We'll have an approval decision for you in minutes with no hidden fees or hidden anything. Because at Ditech, what you see is what you get. Call 1-866-75-FIXED today.
Chris Sinner, Verizon Wireless Network Technician, makes sure that this customer stays in touch with her friends. Project Manager Nancy Pinto makes sure that this one stays in touch with his inner child. Thanks to Jermaine Shorter, Network Engineer, she always knows what's going on. While Network Manager Lee Pauling makes sure this customer always knows where he's going. Internet, videos, music, games, and GPS, brought to you by the whole Verizon Wireless team.
Still to come, Hillary Clinton got a big win this week, but does she have what she really needs, a viable path to the Democratic nominations? Coming up next in 3 questions.
You know, I'm not trying to micromanage your finances, but I will tell you that my E-Trade savings account earns 6 times the national average. So, you know, it's funny. You know, I mean, the boys are talking about what to do with all this extra coin. I was like, I'm renting a clown. And I did. That Bobo here. And I really underestimated the creepiness.
Earn 6 times the national average with an E-Trade savings account. There are 1,000 new accounts a day at E-Trade.
So I go on vhix.com, and you can literally take a test drive.
That's a video test drive.
You've got the specs, you've got
features, options.
Look at the gas mileage, what kind of engine you got.
You can see what the front looks like, what the back looks
Every
like.
single aspect of the car.
Where you're practically driving in the car.
It's easy.
This is how I'm going to do my car shopping from now on.
You will find the right car for you.
Watch video test drives now at vhix.com. Find your ride. Watch our buying guides and test drives powered by Wheels TV on Comcast On Demand.
The difference between making the green and making the cut is from here to here. This game's about the details. With Comcast HD, you'll see each and every one of them. Crisp, vibrant picture, greener greens, sharper swings. You'll never experience sports the same way again. The details change everything. Comcast HD.
Call 1-800-COMCAST today and get more with Comcast HD.
Friday night on Race for the White House, we got some big questions still ahead of us, and still with us, the panel, Rachel, Lawrence, Farai, and Tony. First up, no question that Hillary Clinton is having a pretty good week. She beat Barack Obama by 10 points in Pennsylvania and added $10 million to her war chest. First question then today, she may have won the week, but does Clinton now have a path to the nomination, and what is it? Lawrence, start us off.
I don't think it's anything other than Obama making a huge mistake. I just don't see mathematically what her route is from here to the nomination. It has to be Obama just completely collapses somehow.
Rachel, it doesn't have to be about math. It could be about the story. You heard Howard Dean a few minutes ago telling the Financial Times the superdelegates can overturn this even if it's not about the math.
Sure, superdelegates can decide on any grounds whatsoever. They could decide to do anything for any reason. I will say, though, that the big metric, the big positive for Hillary Clinton coming out of Pennsylvania, remember, she didn't quite get double digits. She got something like 9.3 or 9.4%, but she did get $10 million. That, of course, was undercut today with the revelation that she had $5 million more in debt than the campaign was talking about before we got that big metric. So none of the numbers are adding up for her. I think Lawrence is right that it's going to have to be a story about Barack Obama.
Let me suggest what it could be. It's a difficult path, but if Obama underperforms in North Carolina and if Hillary wins Indiana, then I think there are going to be a lot of very nervous Democratic superdelegates wondering whether he can get enough white votes to win a general election.
And Farai, if this thing keeps going, if she's able to keep raising money and keep the contest coming, she's got more time to make the argument, which is ultimately what she's got.
She has more time to make the argument. Really, I think something that is another Hail Mary pass is Florida. If Florida's delegates end up being seated, that would give her a huge boost. She's actually claiming, Senator Clinton is actually claiming that she's now ahead in the popular vote if you count Michigan and Florida. It seems a dim prospect that all of those votes will count from those two primaries, but certainly that's another X factor.
In the meantime, in the meantime, David, she has to figure out a way to get her extraordinarily high negative number down while she's conducting a certain amount of negative campaigning, and that's very unlikely that you can do both of those at the same time.
And it goes to my question about tactics. Is Barack Obama best served by essentially acting as if he has won this thing, riding it out, trying to take on John McCain, and not getting into the brawl that she wants? You know, she wants the debate every day because she needs it. She needs some opportunity to bloody him up.
The thing that I don't understand is why Hillary Clinton is directly lobbying superdelegates right now this week, and Barack Obama is not. And when we all talk about what's going to happen in Indiana, what's going to happen in North Carolina, on what grounds are superdelegates going to make their decision, what's going to be influential, who knows how they're going to decide? Directly lobbying them is the directest route, is the most direct route to their decisions. I don't know why Obama is not doing that if Clinton is.
Look, sitting on a lead is the most dangerous exercise in politics. That's what Obama's doing. I think he's got to give some positive reasons for Democrats to want to vote for him.
All right, let me move on here. Electability front and center in the Democrats' mind, especially this week. Team Clinton pushing an electoral vote argument, claiming that she would do better than Obama in the fall because she won some of the big states. Team Obama says either Democrat will win the blue states, but only Obama has proven he can win the independent voters and perhaps even some Republicans. Second question then tonight, independent voters, are they Obama's trump card? Lawrence, spell it out for me.
Absolutely. He's done better with them. He will probably continue to do better with them. And we already do have some polls showing that no matter which one of them is the nominee, they would probably get pretty much the same vote. One of them isn't stronger than the other in the different categories of votes in the Democratic Party.
Well, on the other hand,
yeah, go ahead, Tony.
There's a poll in Massachusetts that shows that Obama and McCain are tied while Hillary's beating McCain by 15 points. Now, that may be an outrider poll, but that's a pretty stunning poll nonetheless.
But Farai, you look at independent voters in states like Colorado. If Obama's got a strong advantage there, he's much more likely to win that state in the fall than Hillary Clinton would against John McCain. It's a question of how deep she goes in the Democratic base and how wide he can go in his voter base.
Well, again, I really have to say that first-time voters, new voters, are the ones that are really going to make the difference this time around. You've got the independent voters and the swing voters who do lean for Obama, but you have all these people who have never voted before, and that is the most terrifying thing in the world to politicians. Yeah. Terrifying, because you have no idea what they're going to do. But considering that the Obama campaign is mounting a huge response and voter outreach, we can assume some of them will go for Obama.
David, younger independents too, Rachel, that's important. The younger independents and how they break could be brand new territory for Obama, whereas McCain may be counting on him.
Sure. And if the race on the Democratic side right now is making an electability argument to the superdelegates, and I'm not sure how smart that is, but it seems like that's what both candidates are doing, I think Farai is exactly right to talk about the fact that the voter registration drive being announced from the Obama campaign right now, yeah, the point of that is to register some new voters, but the point of that is also to remind any superdelegates or anybody else out there assessing Obama's electability that he's going to be bringing all those new folks in. He's going to be doing the rallies with 35,000 people or whatever it was in Philadelphia. He's going to be exciting new kids to come out and vote.
All right, finally, John McCain's search for a VP rolls on. McCain says he wants to lock up a number 2 as soon as possible. Third question then, during all this downtime for McCain, what is he looking for in a running mate? Tony, start us off.
I think what his instinct is to find someone he likes, who he agrees with. I think his advisors will urge him not to ignore what he likes and go with what he needs. I have a hunch he may end up going with what he likes to his detriment. And
Lawrence,
he may make the mistake of
yeah, finish the thought.
And he may make the mistake of declaring early. It's the only news that's going to come out of the convention. He ought to wait until convention to announce whatever the decision is.
Lawrence, the question is, does he go for a blue state candidate, or does he go for somebody who reinforces national security strength?
No, I don't think he needs national security strength reinforced. I think it actually would be a mistake. I think he needs to go to a governor who has said virtually nothing about Iraq. People know if they elect John McCain, they're voting for 4 more years of Iraq. If his vice president is an open book on that, you can leave open the question of how many more years you're voting for. So I think he needs a governor who can guarantee him a state that he needs, who has no real record on Iraq.
I will say, I think we're ignoring the obvious here in terms of what McCain is looking for. McCain is looking for somebody with lower cholesterol, with very low cholesterol and a much later birthday than him. McCain himself has raised the issue that he might be, that his vice presidential choice would be very important because of his age. He's raised the prospect. He's even allowed it to be floated, the prospect of him just serving 1 term. I mean, it's about McCain's age to a very grave extent.
All right, coming up next,
I also
our
think
panel.
that he should.
Go ahead, Farai.
Just quickly, I think he should pick someone from a state that has a diverse population, because that also will add to the appeal.
All right, more to come. Coming up next, our panel predictions. Tony Blankley ready to call the Democratic race in North Carolina tonight. Don't go away.
We all want to bring our performance up to a 10. Centrum Performance can help. It's a complete multivitamin with ginseng, ginkgo, and other nutrients that help support a healthy, active mind. Plus, it has higher levels of B vitamins that help unlock your body's energy. Centrum Performance. Unlock your energy.
You know that song, Time in a Bottle? Well, I got time in a bottle just by changing my allergy medicine from Claritin to Zyrtec. Zyrtec's a lot faster. It starts working 2 hours faster than Claritin, and it keeps working for 24 hours on all my allergy symptoms, indoors and out. You know, Zyrtec should put that on the label. Ingredients: 2 hours you didn't have before.
Zyrtec, the fastest 24-hour allergy relief, now without a prescription.
Meet Erica.
Erica!
Grand poobah of pasta.
Handy!
Connoisseur of cold.
Chili!
She uses Glad bags, not those pricier Ziploc bags. For the thrifty way to help keep food fresh and handy, get Glad.
So here you are, a little confused. Did you think the road to retirement was an expressway? Come on! You can't start this journey without knowing where you're going. You, my friend, you need a plan.
Have a question about whether your plan is in sync with an unsettled market? Ask an Ameriprise advisor. Call 1-877-AFI-4936 and find out why more people come to Ameriprise for financial planning than any other company.
Before there was Tiger Streak, another legend mastered the fairways with a win streak still untouched. Some call Byron Nelson the game's ultimate gentleman. Now golf's best play in his honor in a show of Southern hospitality with $8 million in course renovations. TPC Four Seasons Las Colinas beckons as the race for the FedEx Cup continues. The EDS Byron Nelson Championship. All this week. Only on the Golf Channel.
What are you eating?
Multigrain Cheerios.
So, trying to watch your weight?
No, why?
Nothing. It's just the box. It says it's low in fat.
Do I look like I need to watch my weight?
No. It just says it has 110 calories per serving.
Yeah, but there are other reasons why I like it.
I know. It's the box. It just says it's made with 5 whole grains. And that's good, isn't it?
Mm-hmm. What else does the box say?
Box says shut up, Steve.
Multigrain Cheerios cereal, because it tastes good.
There's a good move in every box of Aleve.
Hi, my name is Dave LaRiviere, and I love Aleve. If I didn't have the Aleve that relieved the back pain down here, there's no way I could move this stuff around. I look at some of the stuff in this place. Without my Aleve, I'm not moving at all.
Aleve. Good moves start here.
The Democrats faced off in the WWE. Now, what's their finishing move?
It's a hell of a fight.
Hardball with Chris Matthews, next on MSNBC. Tonight, in the Democratic campaign, some believe there's no rest for the weary.
All right, maybe they have a point.
As Clinton and Obama race toward their next battlegrounds, Keith's real question is,
how long can these two campaigns go on like this?
Countdown with Keith Olbermann, tonight at 8 Eastern on MSNBC.
Welcome back to the race. Time now for panel predictions. And still with us, Rachel, Lawrence, Farai, and Tony. Farai, your prediction tonight.
Dems go ultra-populist. When you look ahead at the primaries, you have a lot of states facing hard times. You've got Montana, West Virginia, Kentucky, the territory of Puerto Rico. The Dems are going to have to talk bread and butter, and I don't think we'll hear a lot about the war, more about bread and butter.
You think that's a way to distinguish between the two of them as they go forward?
No, it's not a way to distinguish, but you're not going to hear any more bitter comments, let me tell you that.
Right. All right, Tony, your prediction tonight.
Yeah, I predict that Hillary Clinton in North Carolina will beat the spread and lose by only single digits, in part because of the Republican ad campaign that's going to be run against Obama and tying him with White. That's going to maximize her vote in the 62% of the white vote of North Carolina.
And you think the spread there is what for him?
Well, right now it's double digit. I think she could end up losing it by maybe 7 or 8.
So if she comes in,
which would be a good night for her.
Right, single digits there, and winning Indiana is what she needs to keep going?
That's what she needs, I think.
Yeah. Lawrence, what do you think?
My prediction is Wesley Clark for vice president, that as we get closer to the nomination, that Wesley Clark's going to go to the top of the short list, no matter who the nominee is. Both of them, Hillary Clinton and Barack Obama, they both need help on national security. They both need help on military experience in a time of war. Wesley Clark would probably for sure lock up Arkansas for Hillary Clinton and be able to help Barack Obama maybe take Arkansas, but they both need exactly that kind of guy on the ticket with them.
What does he have now, Lawrence, that he didn't have when he unsuccessfully ran for the presidency?
The big advantage is this is going to be a 2-month campaign for vice president. He couldn't run the big campaign, and he showed he couldn't, but I think he's learned a lot in the meantime. For Obama, it's a great pick because it's the unity candidate. Obama will not take Hillary, but if he takes Wesley Clark, her #1 supporter, that unifies the two campaigns.
He needs a military figure, you think, more than somebody from the foreign policy establishment?
Clark is the guy who gives you both. He's as NATO commander, he's got enough diplomacy experience, enough what you'd consider foreign policy experience, but in a time of war, with John McCain as the nominee, a military man as the nominee on the other side, the Democrats need military on their ticket.
Can I just ask, Lawrence, do you think that Jim Webb meets those criteria too?
No, you can't take him out of the Senate. You cannot afford to. You will not get that Virginia seat back. You can't do that.
Interesting point. All right, Rachel, your prediction tonight.
My prediction tonight's a bit of a Friday night prediction, I will tell you. My prediction is that Barack Obama throws the game in Kokomo. His campaign says that he's going to be playing an official campaign event tonight of 3-on-3 basketball. This, of course, gives him the opportunity to make up for being a bad bowler. But I'm going to predict here that he's actually going to throw the game so as to avoid being seen as too good at basketball so male voters don't feel insecure about him.
He needs to come out strong in a sport that he can dominate. Hey, let me ask you, Tony, about North Carolina. We talk about the race and the strategy down there. Barack Obama goes out of his way today to really hit both Hillary Clinton and John McCain on the issue of where has their experience gotten them. We still don't have any break on gas prices here. Is that a winner down in North Carolina?
Well, I mean, generally gas prices are a winner for Democrats. I don't think it's a winner versus Hillary because she's not in the White House now. So I don't think that plays pretty one way or the other against her. And on experience, I don't think he wins points talking about experience. So I think that's a draw regarding Hillary, and the general election obviously is months away.
President Clinton raised the gas tax by 4.3 cents. You'll be hearing a lot about that as this moves along.
Is there anything, Lawrence, to this race other than personality and the idea of who's best to beat John McCain?
That's about where we are now. There are no policy distinctions between these candidates, and that's why it's become about American flag pins and all these other things, because there's nothing to talk about if you're going to talk about the difference between them on issues.
It could be about issues if the media wanted it to be and the candidates wanted it to be. It could be on issues like Iran, for one, where Hillary Clinton's gone way more hawkish than Obama. There's a lot of stuff out there if we wanted to talk about that instead of the flag pin stuff.
All right, we're going to leave it there. Thanks to the panel. I'm David Gregory. That does it for the race for the White House for tonight. Thanks for watching. Have a great weekend. We're back here Monday, 6 p.m. Eastern Time. Stay right here. Hardball with Chris Matthews coming up next, and Keith Olbermann has Jim Clyburn tonight on Countdown at 8 o'clock. So go away.